Let me tell you something, and listen to me very carefully. This is not about some Hollywood guy playing politician, okay? This is about America, and America has a choice to make. You can keep doing the same old thing, or you can terminate the problems and pump up the solutions. I'm going to tell you exactly what America's future looks like, because I've seen it, I've lived it, and I'm going to make it happen. You know it? Everyone thinks they know Arnold Schwarzenegger. Oh, he's the Terminator guy, he's the muscle guy, he was governor. But let me tell you something. I came to America with $7 in my pocket and a dream bigger than any mountain I ever climbed. And now I'm going to tell you why America's future is brighter than you think, but only if you listen and you act. This isn't about Republican or Democrat. This isn't about left or right. This is about up or down. Are we going up or are we going down? Because I've been both places and I can tell you which one feels better. Let me paint you a picture, so let me go back to 2003. California, my California, was a mess. Total disaster. The lights were going out, the air was so thick you could cut it with a knife, and the politicians were running around like headless chickens. Gray Davis, the governor, he was getting recalled because nobody trusted him to fix anything. And you know what happened? So, the people of California, they said, you know what? Let's try the guy from the movies. At least when he terminates something, it stays terminated. So I became governor, and everyone said, Arnold, you're crazy. You're a Republican in the most liberal state in America. You're going to get crushed. But you know what I told them? I said, I didn't come here to fit in. I came here to lead. California was the perfect laboratory, you understand? If I could make environmental policy work in California, with all our businesses, all our cars, all our people, then it would work anywhere. But here's what nobody understood. I wasn't just trying to save the environment. I was trying to prove that America could still be the leader of the world. We had rolling blackouts. We had smog so thick in Los Angeles that kids couldn't play outside. And the federal government? They were doing nothing. Zero. So I said, you know what? California will lead, and everyone else will follow. The real Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now let me tell you something about myself that maybe you don't know. I didn't become successful by listening to people WHO told me what I couldn't do. When I was a skinny kid in Austria, they said I couldn't be a bodybuilder. When I was a bodybuilder, they said I couldn't be in movies because of my accent. When I was in movies, they said I couldn't be governor because I was just an actor. You know what I say to that? You know what I say to that? Screw your freedom. The freedom to fail, the freedom to give up, the freedom to make excuses. I choose the freedom to succeed. At 76 years old, I'm still pumping iron. I'm still making movies. I'm still fighting for the environment. You know why? Because when you stop moving forward, you start dying. And America should never stop moving forward. I understand Americans because I chose to become one. I wasn't born here, so I had to earn it. I had to prove it every single day. And what I learned is this. Americans don't want to be told they're bad. They want to be inspired to be great. They don't want to be lectured about problems. They want to be shown solutions. This is why I can predict America's future. Because I understand the American spirit better than people we're born with it and take it for granted. The moment everything changed, so let me tell you about the most important moment in America's environmental future. And it happened in a TV studio, not in some government building. They asked me about climate change, and I said something that made everyone's head explode. I said, you know as long as they keep talking about global climate change, they are not gonna go anywhere, because no one gives a shit about that. The room went completely silent. You could hear a pin drop. The interviewer, he's looking at me like I just said the most shocking thing in the world. But then I explained it to them, and this is when everything changed. I said, we're not talking about climate change. We're talking about pollution. Pollution creates climate change, and pollution kills. Boom! Just like that, I terminated 40 years of bad messaging. You know why environmental groups are losing? Because they are talking about polar bears and ice caps and global temperatures. Nobody cares about that when they're trying to pay their rent and feed their family. But pollution? Everyone understands pollution. You breathe dirty air, you get sick. Your kids breathe dirty air, they get asthma. That's not politics, that's reality. Slovene people ask me, Arnold, what's America's future going to look like? I tell them, it depends if we keep talking about things nobody cares about, or if we start talking about things everybody cares about. This is about you two. Now let me ask you something personal. When was the last time someone convinced you to change by making you feel guilty? Never, right? But when was the last time you changed because someone showed you how you could be better, stronger, more successful? This is exactly what I'm talking about. In your job, in your relationships, in your life, nobody wants to be told they're the problem. They want to be told they can be the solution. I see this all the time when I'm training people. The trainer VHO says, you're fat, you're lazy, you're weak. That person creates quitters. The trainer VHO says, you have incredible potential, let's unlock it. That person creates champions. America's environmental leaders, they've been like the bad trainer. You're destroying the planet. You're killing the polar bears. You should feel ashamed. And then they wander why nobody wants to follow them. But when I was governor, I said, California is going to show the world how to make money and clean up the environment at the same time. We are going to create jobs and reduce pollution. We are going to prove that environmental protection isn't sacrifice, it's opportunity. You know what happened? California became the innovation capital of the world. Solar energy, electric cars, clean technology, all of it happening right here, creating jobs, making money, and yes, cleaning up the air. The future I see, so let me tell you what I see when I look into America's future, because the crystal ball is very clear. First, the leaders who keep saying environmental protection hurts the economy, they are either liars or they are stupid, maybe both. The future belongs to the countries that figure out how to make clean energy cheaper than dirty energy, and America is going to win that race if we stop making excuses. Second, America needs young blood, not just young age, young thinking. People VHO see possibilities instead of problems. People VHO want to build instead of just complain. You know what I told them about the 2024 election? I said Trump would lose because Republicans dug a hole for themselves. Was I right about the election? No. But was I right about the hole? Absolutely. And that hole is still there. Getting deeper every day, they focus on division instead of solutions. The vision of my climate initiative is simple. A planet where pollution is terminated and healthy life is possible for everyone. But this isn't just about the environment. This is about whether America can still inspire the world or just warn about danger. America's future comes down to one choice. Do you want to be the country that shows everyone else how to solve problems? Or do you want to be the country that just complains about problems? The choice is yours, here's the bottom line. And I want you to remember this. California didn't just meet my environmental targets. We crushed them. We exceeded every goal while becoming the innovation capital of the planet. The state that was supposedly destroying business with environmental regulations attracted more investment and created more jobs than anywhere else on earth. But you know what? This story isn't finished yet. America's future isn't written. It's going to be determined by what we choose to do right now, today. I didn't just predict America's future. I gave you the blueprint for how to build it. The question isn't whether my predictions will come true. The question is whether you have the courage to make them come true. You can keep doing the same old thing, complaining about problems and making excuses, or you can terminate the negativity and pump up the solutions. You can be the country that lectures the world about what's wrong, or you can be the country that shows the world what's possible. The choice is yours, America. But choose quickly, because the future doesn't wait for anyone. And remember, I'll be back to check on your progress.